Hello, welcome once again to Bits and Bytes Gaming. My name is Pascal Takaya, and you're watching Instant Replay, Episode 6. Kabuki Quantum Fighter is a cyber-themed platformer for the original Nintendo Entertainment System. This game is a great example of a title that might have been missed by many due to having a rather abstract name and protagonist. The game's main character is Scott O'Connor, a military colonel who must let his brain get transformed into some type of binary code so he can enter the nation's supercomputer and fight off a virus that is attacking it. Still with me? It shouldn't be too much of a surprise that the plot sounds like a twist on the movie Inner Space, and it seems like a strange coincidence that a guy named O'Connor has to combat what's essentially an evil computer brain, which all sounds suspiciously like another well-known action franchise of the time. In any case, O'Connor agrees to become the world's last hope and is digitized, assuming the form of a classical Japanese kabuki dancer, which is incredibly odd but cool in a certain way. I don't think there is any attempt made in-game to explain this transformation, though I have read that the computer recognized that Scott's ancestors were kabuki dancers, and it therefore reincarnated him in their image. Seriously, his name is O'Connor, and he hails from a long line of classical Japanese dancers. Anyway, other than the character's look, there aren't any similarities to kabuki theater in the game. It's a standard side-scrolling action platformer, albeit one with good controls. I first read about this game in the pages of Club Nintendo, which is the German version of Nintendo Power magazine. At the time it interested me partly because of its quirky premise, and partly because it seemed stylish to turn into a kabuki and run through a virtual world killing things with your hair. You heard that right, O'Connor's default mode of attack is to whip enemies with his flame red head of hair. He's basically the original Bayonetta. Replaying this game now, I was pretty much pleasantly surprised at how well the character moves. Precision jumps are a must in this game, and some levels are based almost exclusively around the art of timing your jumps correctly. Kabuki O'Connor can climb some walls and hang from suspended platforms all over the environment. Jumping from platform to platform is easy and doesn't lead to raging tantrums like some platformers. Enemies will come at you on the ground and in the air, some fast, some slow, even some that shoot, but you have the ability to fire back. You start the game with a weak chip shot, a limited range projectile that does minimal damage. However, each boss you defeat will net you an additional weapon to add to your arsenal, kind of like Mega Man, but not implemented nearly as well or as cool. The alternate weapons are a nice touch, and each is different than the others. One shot scatters into multiple directions, and late in the game, you'll actually get a stick of dynamite you can throw. But since they run on limited ammo, you'll usually be reserving them for the boss fights. Speaking of bosses, you won't find a whole lot of them. The game is fairly short. You'll only get 6 levels to make your way through. But that doesn't mean it's easy. The levels get increasingly challenging, incorporating environmental hazards like lava flows, iced blocks that retard your movement, fire traps, and more. The areas within the levels don't include checkpoints either. Die and it's back to the beginning of the level. Die too many times and you have to use one of your 2 continues before being forced to start the game all over. Worst of all, the levels can't be taken on as slowly and cautiously as you like. A time limit is always ticking in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, and running out of time means instant death. This has happened to me literally as I was crossing the level's exit. All in all, Kabuki Quantum Fighter nonetheless remains a fun game that's still playable today, but probably not very remembered. In the closing credits, Scott mentions a sequel we should be watching out for, but no such game was unfortunately ever created. Still, while the game won't win any nostalgia awards, it remains a fun diversion for a few moments every now and then. Thanks for joining us on this outing of instant replay. Check out our next episode when I finally make the leap into the future and skip several console generations forward to take a look at the unique puzzler Bombastic. Head over to bnbgaming.com to let us know your thoughts on this episode or share some input on future editions. If you enjoyed this series, like us on Facebook/Bits and Bytes Gaming and follow us on Twitter for all the latest updates. In the meantime, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Goodbye.